Ow! You're the one that's daft enough to walk on it.
Why?
Well, hello, from Spain.
Sunny Spain.
Yeah. Some people like it. And it's not for others. I'm not one for the sun. Never have been. But yeah, at least this is the shady side. Isn't it? The shady side of the bus. Because we were sat there setting up the camera, I couldn't see. But yeah, it's all good. So yeah, here we are in Spain.
On our own.
On our own.
We parted company with Neil and Fiona yesterday.
Yep.
And really that's the point of this video, I think.
Well no, the point of the video was people are asking for us to talk, and we've got to that point, haven't we, where there was only so many videos. I was determined to try and do the whole bit without doing videos because my head wasn't in it, and I didn't want to like share grumpy stuff with you all, or you know, bring the mood down, because we've been to some pretty awesome places, haven't we?
Yeah.
On the way across, we've seen some really cool stuff, or everyone else has seen it and I've sat in the van, which was my choice, but mainly because I was too tired to get out of the van, and I wasn't managing with all the people, even the people that I like and love. I don't do people very well. I know I used to do it for work, I don't do it anymore. And I like to have my own space to sit and think and stuff and do things. I've been learning to do things and slow down, and that's the way we've rolled for a while, isn't it? We went like our Scotland adventures, we'd get up when we were ready, I'd put the kettle on, and then eventually we'd get up and we'd have a chat and make a video, and then we'd be off, wouldn't we? Doing whatever it was we felt like doing on that day. That seemed to be how it was.
There was no plan.
There was no plan. But there wasn't. It was.
There wasn't a plan.
The plan was to get back to Otnagat for Fiona.
Eventually, so
yeah. On such a day, but until then nothing mattered.
Yeah.
And as long as we got ourselves there, and then down to Manchester in time, then that's what mattered. So we just did what we could manage. So if I was tired, I'd stay in the van, and no one got upset that I was staying in the van, and no one would be there to be offended by me staying in the van or take it the wrong way because I was staying in the van because things outside are too much sometimes, and I'm quite happy in my own space, having that place to retreat, having that safe place when I need a safe place. Because a lot of things can set off my PTSD and things like that, and my anxiety, because I've had anxiety issues for a while, but after the stroke my anxiety issues went worse. Yeah, so went from all that to having anxiety during the trip, hoping we'd get there. We set off, and then the bus broke down. That kind of changed the first night, so everyone was looking forward to the Kelpies, and it didn't happen. It's like, it's okay, we'll see what's what. Went back to Neil's. Neil started on the bus straight away, and we had to go because we'd already all booked in to see Heather, and Heather had hired the swimming pool and stuff. So we went down to Heather, and then I've had hospital appointments and stuff that we needed to do to get out of the way before we came to Portugal. Go on.
And one of them didn't go particularly well.
Which, what?
Of your hospital,
Oh,
which sort
a
of.
few. It was like
So
I had an email wisdom teeth taken out, and that kind of went as expected because for some reason the NHS don't seem to communicate. So when I'd had tests done when I worked up in York, the tests and things to find out why I'd had a stroke, they discovered I'd got a hole in my heart and a weak right ventricle. So when I'd gone to see this surgeon about the teeth, which is a simple enough operation just to take the teeth out, they said, well, until we got evidence of how bad or whatever it is, and we might have to take precautions, we can't touch it. They've tried to get the information, couldn't get the information, so now I've been referred to cardiology. And it's like, okay, but we've done it, haven't we? We did that day it was morning at Stepping Hill, and got that out of the way. And then I finally got to see Shy. I don't know if you've watched some of the other videos, like things haven't been brill with me and Shy since I moved out and went on the road, and she went her way, which was her plan. At 18 she was going to do that, and it was nice to see her. It was nice for her to want to see me, and it was a surprise, but I was so pleased that we got to do that. So then got to see Gaynor, the van got serviced, everything was sorted. We thought that it had some major mechanical issues, which it didn't, because our mechanic, he sorted everything out, and we just had burnt clutch fluid, didn't we? So that got that sorted. That was a weight off our minds. Even though we was going to get it all sorted, we'd have just got the clutch and everything done before we set off. We'd allowed for that, we'd planned for that, hadn't we? And we'd got the money for that, all that, not a problem. And then I had another hospital appointment. Now, a while ago I had a scan, and they found a cyst, which it's nothing really, an ovary cyst. And they said, oh, we need to see you again to check how it is, just to, you know, see if it's gone or whatever. It's probably gone by then. So I said, all right then, no bother. So we went, and it hasn't gone, it's grown. So they have referred me, and they found another 2. So even though it could be just because I've got a coil fitted, they've referred me to gynecology. So my head went a bit. I thought, it doesn't matter, it's not, you know, the chances is it's the coil. So then it was like, we got to see my nana the first night, we went to see your mum and your sister and the boys and everything. That all went really well, and it was so lovely seeing Ashley and Luke in their own home, and it was something that meant a lot to you, wasn't it, to see them and do that. So then after that we was going to see my mum, and the bloody dam near where they work at Whaley had gone, and all of a sudden no one could get to Whaley, no one could get to Chapel, and that's where my mum lives, in Chapel, and we couldn't get to visit because everyone had been diverted and evacuated from Whaley into Chapel. All the roads were gridlocked, and even if we waited till the next day, it just wasn't going to happen. So we looked at things, didn't we? And we thought, well, we'll just jump on was it M6?
Yeah.
But then we realised we couldn't actually just jump on the M6, and we ended up going down the M1 instead, and it was like, oh. Now, during all this time, Neil had fixed the van, and decided that they'd try and catch us up in Manchester, but because of the hospital appointments, one thing or another, we wouldn't have found each other. The roads were gridlocked, and even with the sat nav, and because we'd have had to keep going to hospital appointments and doctor's appointments and nurses appointments and things like that. So, because I had all them as well. So we just like said, we'll meet you, get to New Haven, we'll meet you there. Now we couldn't come down and go down the country, the side of the country they were on. We were on the opposite side of the country. So we went down that way, didn't we? And we got to New Haven first, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we found somewhere to stop at the fort. And that was cool, wasn't it? Until they seemed to be having like parties and all sorts, wasn't it? It was a bit...
I don't know, I'll just like...
It was too busy, and I'm not sure that Fiona or Neil thought of it. I don't think they were impressed, because I certainly wasn't. And yeah, it just... I think at that point we'd all done so much travelling, the boys had done so much driving, that we just wanted a break. We wanted to be able to empty our toilets and get ourselves ready and just connect before we got on the ferry and stuff. So that's what we did. We got a Alphaton campsite. It was a really cool place. Sorted our stuff out, or sorted our shit out, quite literally, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then had a couple of days there where we really did just chill out and try and get back into the swing of things. We then managed to make it to the ferry on time. We fueled up, didn't we? Last thing before jumping on the ferry. Did the air in our tyres and all that lot. Yeah. We'll get to that. And then jumped on the ferry, as you've seen the video. Dead simple crossing, wasn't it? They were lovely. They were like, oh, where are you going? Oh, it's really cool that you're doing that both together, and yeah, enjoy your trip. And that were it, wasn't it? Got off the other side, and it wasn't a bad crossing, but because where my stroke was in my cerebellum, my balance is off, and being on a ferry, not able to get to my safe space for 4 hours, plus the extra bit, once you get on and once you get off. There was a lift so I could get up, but the kids running about, I couldn't see properly, and I didn't feel safe, and there was too much going on, and I couldn't. When I stood up, I just felt so wobbly, because not only was the floor actually moving, but even when the floor's, it's hard to explain, when the floor is solid, I still can feel like I'm moving. The world still feels like it's still a bit like, wobbly. Sometimes I do wobble while I'm walking. I must look like I'm pissed, but I'm not. I'm just unsteady because this balance issue, this part of my brain. But yeah, so way too much like going on the boat. Gets down to, where did we go next? Got back to the van, didn't we? It was like, yes, got Scooby cuddles, and then we wandered off to Offray. I think that was the first night, wasn't it? It was just a really cool little stop near, Offray. It was by the Lagar, which is the train station, and it was not a bad place, and the weather wasn't too bad, was it? It was sunny, it wasn't too hot, it was alright. We got up, and then it was cool to move to the next place, which we did, and the driving seemed alright for everyone, and I think everyone was pretty happy with that. What do you think?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But yeah, the first 2 days were all good. It was the third day, wasn't it? Which was the
windmill day.
Yeah, it would have been the
Windmill Night. No, sorry, I'm trying to think. It was like
you've got to think. It seems like we've done so much, but it's been in such a short
space of time. It's like
that, you know, what seems like, but I'm sure it was the third day. The morning drive was fine, and then
when we got to the border, when we stayed on the border, that's it.
Yes.
What it was, we drove across all of France, and we could have been in Spain that night, but it was easier because coming into France, it was hammered. The beaches were hammered, the parking spaces were hammered, everything was hammered, and it was like, where are we going to find somewhere peaceful without all these humans to just chill and get to where we need to get? The only thing is, in the front of this is a converted minibus, and I know everyone had a hard time in the heat because it was 36 degrees on all the signs we were driving past, wasn't it?
1748, 35 degrees.
What were that?
That was the
one of the signs.
Yes. So it's like, you know what I mean, you're thinking at 6 o'clock.
And I'd seen 36 degrees.
Yeah, at 6 o'clock when it's the sun's fairly low, so we're getting it, you know, full on through the windshield.
But Si's got a blind, Neil's got a blind, Fiona's kind of got a blind, but she sits back. I'm sat right up in front because we've had a seat put in by a really awesome mechanic and welder down at Eurotred. Hi Richie. So once that seat was put in the front, it was like brill, because I could be up and talking to Si, but in that heat, in that sun, when I don't do sun, and my eyes, the heat, you know, everyone had it tough, but my photophobia, my head was pounding, the cool mat for the dog was warm to touch, the water that would usually stay cold in the front had gone warm, and it was like, I'd rather drink warm water than not drink water at all. My skin was burning, and I was feeling sick and feeling dizzy before I'd even got out, and I'd said to Si, my skin's burning, and he's like, we're nearly there, and then we was like, we'd found this place to go, and then the sat nav took us the wrong way, I think 3 times. It was like, it turned like a fairly short couple hour journey into a much longer journey. By the time we got there, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say I nearly collapsed when I got out the front of the van. And I was shaking, and I crawled into the back of the van, and I got onto the bed, and I just didn't move. I was just crying. It was horrible. And then I was just stuck. And I remember hearing Fiona saying, oh, you're asleep, cool, and disappearing. And I thought, oh, thank God for that, because as much as I love Fiona, I wasn't wanting to see anyone. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to get some peace and quiet and some sleep. And it didn't happen, because that night I was hot, I was sweating, I was feeling sick. Everything kept repeating on me, even though I didn't eat tea. I was on the sofa for that night and the night after, wasn't I? You managed to get some sleep, didn't you? But not much. And it was like, that next day I was that exhausted, and that my head was that gone. I couldn't get out of the van. I couldn't function, and I was just sat in the van, and I said to you, didn't I? I says, I just want to go home. Now that's daft really, because I am home, but at that point I just wanted to hide somewhere, anywhere.
And that leads into the next day, which was into Spain. So we crossed over, and we decided we were going to try and get down to Salamanca.
Yeah.
So the first step was to Burgos.
Yeah. So next step was to
Burgos.
Burgos.
So we got just past Burgos. We stopped for a cuppa.
Yeah, we stopped for a cuppa, and Neil noticed the tyre had gone down
on the front of our van.
Now, I hadn't come out of the van because I still couldn't get out of bed, and I was still feeling really, really low and just wanting it to all end. And Si had come in the back and said, oh, there's a problem with the tyre. Well, that was me off again. And I just said to him, I want to go. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to.
You've got a tent, just give it, mate.
Yeah,
I'll stay here.
And
it was like,
just drop me off at a campsite because I've really had enough now. It's like.
So a quick Google.
I
found a tyre
basically,
place.
He came out of the van. He says, "Look, I'll just sort this." So he shut the door
and then we'll sort anything else out.
Yeah, he was.
So, quick Google, found a tyre place which was only 3 miles down the road. Tried to put a bit of air in, but was really wary about that because it was the actual valve that seemed to have gone. Got down to the tyre place, pulled up. They were shut. They were leaving, and they weren't entertaining us. So there was another garage.
Just round the corner.
Yeah.
I just heard stuff, and then it was moving again.
At the fuel station, so drove down there, and they were shutting. They shut the back door, and who was guessing the owner came out with the battery and put it in his car. And I said, look, problem. He went in, spoke to someone, and there was a lot of tutting, and he came out, had a look, and they dragged out the airline, at which point I thought they were just going to try and, top the tyre up. But they didn't, and the jack going, trundling along the workshop floor, and it's great. They came out, they jacked it up, got the wheel off.
But they had to hammer the wheel off, and while this was going on,
and they had to jump on the bar
standard
to get the wheel nuts off. But yeah, they sorted that.
But while they were doing that, you came back into me, didn't you?
Yeah. And
you took
and I said,
one look at me and said that you'll sort it. We'll get the tyre sorted.
Yeah.
And
so I went and spoke to Neil and Fiona and said, look, you're gonna have to just go on.
I mean, we weren't far from
on your own.
Yeah, we weren't far. They knew exactly how to work the sat-nav. They knew how to do parts of the night. Neil's more than capable driving. They'd already knew where we was going to aim for that night. They knew where we was going to go to, and we were 6 hours away from the final destination, which sounds like absolutely nothing, but when you're driving in heat, when you got all sorts of other stuff going on, and you can only, because everyone's only been able to drive for a few hours, an hour and a half to 2 hours before they've had to stop for a cuppa or a drink of water, or just to get themselves ready to be able to go on again. And it's like, so that what to people in the UK sound like nothing, over here it's just like, it's another form of torture, I guess. It's just harsh to get through that, and you don't think it is until you live in it, and then you're like, this is pretty severe. So yeah, it was a case of Neil and Fiona, they knew what they were doing. They didn't know how the tyre was going to go. We'd already been told what Monday for the other garage, so we just thought, let them go, and we'll try and sort, so I thought he'd just try and sort me out and give me a bit of time before we meet up again. So that's what you did, wasn't it? He got us to here, which is just on the river. What's it called again?
Something Benidorm, I don't know.
No, there's a place just at the top there.
But we're not actually far from where we had the tyre fixed.
Yeah, it's not many miles at all.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. But we got that done. That was €15 for a new valve, which sorted it.
Sorry,
which is really good.
Douro, Douro River. How do you say that in Spanish?
Fucking no idea. But it's beautiful. We're on. It's dammed just before where we are.
Excuse me.
It was a bit of a bypassing, so there's still the river.
But you brought us down here, didn't you?
But yeah, it's
the first day.
It is stunning.
And I've got out of the van today and had a little tiny bit of a.
Yesterday, and you had a bit of a walk.
Not much of a walk.
No, but it's.
And again today, but I am finally out of the van. There is a few people about, but they're not. It is where we are.
Yeah, it is Sunday and it's a big family day for
But these people aren't under our feet. We went the other place we were where the sheep passed. It was like the farmer had come out shouting, and all these motorhomes had turned up later on after us, and they actually drove round and we were blocked in, which of course sets my anxiety sky high, because to say it's like, oh well, everything's fine, they'll be gone before us, but to me it's like, say if anything happens, we're the last ones to get out here, and why can't anyone park considerably? But hey, that's me. And that's
unfortunately you're in Spain, and
fortunately it's a nice place.
And it's just not like that. There's no consideration for personal space, and we just it's that vast there that it's
we've got space. We don't really hear people. We nod at people as they go past, and that's it. And we've seen about 4 families while we've been here. That's it.
And it's
the whole family, but it's still.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
So I think we've finished. Well, we've not quite finished our food.
Well, no, we've got quite a whole load of pasta and stuff. But the thing is, it's like I needed this time to. I knew Fiona and Neil would be all right.
And they are all right. We know that.
And last night they got there, didn't they?
Yeah, they got to.
They got there at 10 o'clock. I mean, they left us, and they went straight there, and they did stop quite a lot for cups of tea, apparently, and pineapple juice, and they got there at about 10:05 last night, Spanish time. So. That's what, 9:05 our time?
No. It's our time, Spanish time as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that changed.
Oh, no. Yeah, so Spanish time, it would have been.
Oh, yeah, but they've gone to Portugal.
Yeah, 9:05 in Portugal.
So not only he's broken what time and space as Neil with his driving there, because he would have been there a whole hour earlier than what I realised. So yeah, but no, good on him, and they're there. So it's just a case of. But
we're just gonna take it easy for the next few days.
We're gonna try and get my head back together. Try and start to relax. Trying to chill. Try and just start enjoying this again, because it was never meant to be a chore. It was meant to be something everyone could enjoy, and it just got too much. Where everything got too much, too many things happening, too many triggers. With my PTSD and my anxiety. But I think I'm through the worst of it. Thank you.
But there was something seriously bad that happened, wasn't there?
What's that? You ran out of wine?
Oh, I've run out of wine. I mean, that is seriously bad, but my
sunglasses
are broke, so I'm on my old sunglasses.
And he doesn't want new ones.
Well, we'll see. Find some good ones. But
we'll see.
So yeah, that's where we're at. So we're going to
Yeah.
take a couple of days, a couple more
And
days.
sorry
and
about just giving you the where we're at and the pretty side, because it just seemed right at the time, and now.
Which I don't agree with. I think that there's too many people out there doing van life. Look at this, it is fucking brilliant. When actually, it's.
Yeah, look at this.
This is
the
life.
Thing is, if I had put something on there, which you'll be seeing, and
You'll see this video before you see things of where we've talked about, because this is going to go straight on.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you say as well, I wanted you to see the truth, but at the same time, we didn't want to. Well, I didn't want to upset anyone else or upset their anxiety, and that has meant that rather than speak my truth and say where I'm at, I've just hidden inside the van. So yeah, we've seen some really cool things, but it's just one of those things. But I have decided after doing this trip, because one of the things that people love about me, yeah, another bird of prey, but one of the things people love about me is the fact that I'm honest and that I don't bullshit. I don't mix nothing up, and if you ask me a question, you get an answer. And right now, I'm giving you exactly as it is. There's bird of prey, that's Saigon again.
Two.
Yeah, two. Don't have to take your socks off yet, love, do you? But you know,
I've got loads of fingers left. Just two.
So yeah, I always say it as it is. It's just, rather than saying as I was, I just didn't want to upset Neil or Fee, and I wanted the journey to be right for her. And I feel like the journey was right, and she still had an awesome time, and she's still done 5 countries. Oh, here we go. He thinks Manchester's country. So, what?
Scotland.
England. France.
Scotland, England, Manchester, England, France, Spain, Portugal. 7. Did they go to Manchester? I don't think they went to Manchester. So, yeah, it's 6.
Scotland, England, France, Spain, Portugal. They missed Manchester, it's 5.
That's 5, yeah.
So anyway, yeah, so you're gonna get it all from now on. Don't know whether you'll like that or not. It's just out of respect and just wanting things to be right. But yeah, it's nothing anyone did. It was just the fact that of where I'm at and where my head's at. So, but yeah. Well, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.